Tim's workshop out here in the mini shed, getting ready to continue on with the tear down of the 1965 1200 40 horse VW engine. So we got the exhaust off on the back end here. Got to get this nut off to get the get these shields off and all that. But before we do that, we're going to put this in a engine stand that I got. My nephew up north, he had an engine stand that he built when he was up in Alaska, homemade, and it is heavy. But it definitely handle this, and it'll handle diesel engines too. I mean, it's really good. So you're going to see that. I'm going to take you out, and I got it outside right now because it is pretty big, and I need to get it in here, get the engine on my hoist, get it strapped up, and get it off this bench and get it mounted into the engine stand. The only problem is I got to figure out what kind of bolts, what length I need, and all that. So this this motor here will take a mirror and my flashlight, since I have it on the back side here. That's straight through, no threads. Okay, that's straight through, no threads. The one on the bottom though is a pin. It looks like it's plenty long enough to go through the mount. And I see a lot of people when they mount these things on engine stands, especially the one that's made for having the flywheel on, the special made one, they only hook up to this hole here and the bottom stud down below. Now there's another hole down here that is threaded. You got two unthreaded holes. I have a stud down below, and on this side down the bottom it's a bolt that will thread into this. Kind of three different things going on here. When I put it in the engine stand, which this should work, I can hook it up to this point here, and then put a nut on the other side with that stud. And that should hold this whole motor without anything special. Now the pad in the engine stand is about 1 inch thick. With this added to that, I need at least a couple inch, 2.5 inch bolt should work, and I can put a nut on each side here. I could use any bolt, any thread, because this doesn't have threads in it. The stand, I don't believe, has threads in it either. Now the one down below, this stud down here, I will have to mate up the right kind of nut to it and thread. So I do have a gauge. I'm going to put the gauge on it and see what the thread pitch is on it. I could do that once I have it up in this engine stand. Okay, so that's the plan. So now what we'll do, I'll take you out and show you the engine stand I got. Get over on this side so you can see it better. Okay, yeah, it's it's pretty beefy. Made out of square stock, well, rectangle stock. Great big metal wheel casters on it. Real solid. And this does turn. It's a little stiff, so I could put a little oil on it. I can loosen these up and reposition them. These holes are about the same as the one that's on the VW engine. So, and there's no threads in these. So that'll work. So this is great because I have 3 locations here, and that's basically what I have on the motor. I don't need the 4th one. It's really cold out today. I got the heater on in the little room in here. So I could get this thing, get my engine stand hoist hooked up to this, get it up off the table. But when I bring the stand in to mount it, I'm going to have to move all this stuff because I got to be able to get the stand all the way to the wall. It's going to be kind of tight in here, but once it's on the stand, the engine hoist it can go back over where I have it there, and it'll be out of the way, so that'll work. So that's what's next. I guess I'll go ahead and get the strap on there. Hey, if you're new here, please subscribe, leave comments, hit the notification bell. If you like, give me a like, and let your friends and family, and your doggies too, know about Tim's Workshop on my YouTube. Let's get going on tearing down this vintage VW motor, alright? Alrighty, well, I got the strap on it, gonna jack it up, got the engine stand ready to go, got these loose, got some bolts, I got some hardware nuts and washers, lock washers. Don't need lock washers, but well, I don't know if you can see this, but see how the feet are already hitting the stand, and this is quite a ways away yet, almost 3 inches. That's not going to work. I'm going to have to get my other post in here that's longer. So we're going to set the motor back down on the board. Unhook this part of it, get the longer piece inside there, pull this piece out, we'll hook it up here to this, see if we can lift this without dropping it. Got a pair of vice grips on the back holding that thing on so it doesn't slide up, but as I get it up higher, that won't be an issue. The issue would be, can this hold it? And I think it can. Cool. I think we got it. Oh yeah. I think I'll raise it up a little bit more. Okay. Raise it up some more. There we go. And then the washer and nut on. Now, let's get this one. Okay, get that in there. I'm gonna have to raise it up a little bit more. Okay, and the washer and nut. I drained the oil, the rest of the oil that didn't run out on my floor when the valve cover came off. When I first opened up the plug, typical for an old engine like this, it was just molasses coming out of there slow, you know. I put this bucket underneath it thinking, oh, I won't get much out of it, right? Good thing it stopped where it did. I got quite a bit of oil out of that thing. It's pretty thick. I don't think it's been changed for a long time. So we got that going. So now it doesn't have oil in it. I wanted to show you my bolt setup, how that came out. I put a spacer there. This block, actually there's a, see this ridge here? So the block is up against this ridge, not against here. And you don't want to over tighten these things. You don't want to break the block. So they're on there snug enough that I can turn this thing all the way around. And then there's a bolt down below there. I'll show you that one. So got that on there. Okay. Same thing, that block's up against there. So this is good and solid. So I can turn this motor completely around on it. But when I take the case apart, I'll have to take this one bolt out. I think it should be able to support it pretty good. I think that'll be enough that it won't hurt anything. I don't know. I'll think about it. With all this other stuff off there, the pistons and the cylinders, to get all that stuff out of there, the case itself will be pretty light, so I think we'll be okay. And then we can take the case apart. I took the distributor out, like I said before, and the gear is still in there, and the spring's in there, so we want to get the spring out, because when I turn this thing all the way over, we don't want to lose that spring. So we'll take that spring out here right now. There we go. It was actually in there pretty good. So yeah, we don't want to lose that spring. What I'm doing is most of the stuff I'm just putting the nuts and washers back on as I take stuff off. So we'll keep doing that. We need to take a look at this up here to see if this thing's been oversized. The case, you know, 20 or 40 over, and the thrust, see what size that is. So let me clean that off and we'll take a look and see what that looks like. Well, we got a clean block here, depending on what it looks like on the inside. This thing has never been oversized. We got a virgin. I don't know about that, but it does have the small little screw on there for the original oil cooler. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to take the screen filter off and see if there's any crap on the inside. I'm sure there is, but I mean metal type crap. So that's next. We're going to flip her over, start taking the pans, the heater pipes, get the tins off, pull the rockers, heads, cylinders, pistons, get it down to just rods and the case, pull this off, and then take the one bolt out and start taking all the bolts out to separate it. To get all this cleaned up, cut a new piece of plywood and just put that down, leave that as is, and just put that out there somewhere. So I think that's what I'll do. I'll just cut another piece of plywood, put it on top, put some covering over it, and that way when I start taking parts off this motor, I can take them and put them over here, and then eventually get everything all cleaned up, pressure wash the block halves, get everything cleaned up, and do an inspection to see if there's any cracks on it. This thing here you have to be real careful with when you take the oil sensor out, and especially putting it back in. So you don't want to strip it. That would be a bad thing. You just need to snug it, and that's it. So that's it for part 3 of this episode. Part 4 is coming up. So until next time, we'll see ya.